Rome
Yeah.
is the first place that affirms the 27 books in the New Testament.
Okay.
Then fast forward, I believe, 10 years to 393. We have the Synod of Hippo.
Mhm.
We have two big players here in the early church. St. Augustine. He's loved by Calvinist, Orthodox, Catholics alike. Brilliant man. Read his stuff. He's great.
Mhm.
And Jerome, who might have been the foremost expert in linguistics in the world at that time. Synod of Hippo, not only did they reaffirm the 27 books, they checked a bunch of other books again to see if they lined up with the apostolic
If
tradition
they
that's
missed
been
out on
passed down.
something. Okay.
At that synod, they actually affirmed the Old Testament. The different denominations of Judaism had different canons. For example, the Pharisees were actually two sects. One had a 22-book canon, one had a 24-book canon. That would actually line up with the modern Protestant Old Testament because they don't split 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, etc. They count as one book. Sadducees and the Samaritans, who were Torah only, so the first 5 books only. Little community called the Qumran community, the Essenes or Essenes, and they held to a 46-book canon. Okay, and then the Greek Septuagint, which we know was the widespread version of the Old Testament during the time of Christ. We know because the apostles actually are quoting from the Septuagint that was the version they used. Okay, the Septuagint was a 46-book canon. So the church, now at first Jerome was against it. Jerome did not want the what we call in the Catholic Church the Deuterocanonical books, what Protestants would refer to as the Apocrypha. He didn't want it in there. Said it wasn't. The reason being is when he
Who didn't want him in there?
Jerome.
Okay.
The reason he didn't want him in there is because he goes and visits the ruins of the temple in Jerusalem, who we know from Matthew 23:1, the Pharisees sat on the seat of Moses. That's basically, they're the head chiefs of the temple. The canon he finds doesn't include those. So he says, because at first, now he recanted, you can read this later on, because they weren't written in Hebrew, he didn't think they should be considered canon. Obviously, St. Augustine and Pope Gregory the Great said that they should be scripture, and they were included. Then the next synod we have is the Synod of Carthage. Again, confirms the canon. I think about 40 years after the Synod of Hippo, we have a 4th synod, a second Synod of Carthage, again confirm the canon. It's not called into question. Again, Ecumenical Council at Florence. The Bishop of Constantinople famously died there. So confirmed there again. A couple hundred years later, Martin Luther starts this up again, not wanting those books in there, just at this time and point again, so hurt that he's trying to do anything he can do to discredit the church, be different.
Undermining authority,
so
speaking out to discredit, yes.
Counter-Reformation, we have the Council of Trent, and the Council of Trent went a step further than just confirming it. They dogmatically confirmed it. This is it. This is the stuff, the deposit of faith the apostles have passed down to us. This goes along with everything we've been taught.
So